I, 25F, and my now ex-girlfriend, 26F, were together since we were 14 and 15, respectively. We were each other's first everything. Our relationship was a near fairy tale for the most part. She was the perfect girlfriend I could have asked for. A few aberrations over all those years, in form of arguments, none your regular healthy couple couldn't relate with, and as infrequent as they could have come, are all that kept it from being a perfect relationship. To set the context, we recently celebrated her business's previous quarter's financials with a vacation in Mykonos. This was in early October, just over a couple of months ago. It was all perfect as perfect could be. Our relationship was in cruise control. It was all solid, right up until the end of October of this year. She used to surprise me with these weekend getaways, dates, and gifts. Nothing too fancy, but just about enough to make me melt. Then, none of it for well over a month. Nada. She's initiated physical intimacy the most out of us both. She's always had a higher libido than I. Again, none of that for over a month. I had no reason to suspect anything and just brushed it off by attributing it to her work stress. She's been working her arse off for the past 6 years to build the aforementioned business that has finally started paying off its dividends. Of all these changes in the status quo of our relationship, what stuck out the most by far was an incident that happened earlier in November. She was out for a night of pub crawl with her girlfriends. Soho pub crawls are kind of a ritual with them, the usual chinwag over drinks. She wanted me to go along, but I couldn't as my local football, Soccer for Americans team was playing that evening, and being a season ticket holder, I rarely miss their games, if at all. That being said, I've joined in as well as sat out these crawls multiple times over the years. She's almost always acquiesced to me being at a football game over almost any event that's ever clashed with it. Red flag number 1, I get back home just around midnight after heading over to my sister's for a couple pints after the match. She texted me she'd be late and asked me to not stay up, and that her friend, let's call her A, would drop her off. I stayed up anyway and texted A, who's their group's designated driver by the virtue of her sobriety, to drive safely. Imagine my surprise when A said my ex-girlfriend had left the crawl earlier and had informed her that she'd be taking a cab home, much against her girlfriend's protests. Her cab finally pulled up in front of our house at about 2 a.m. Went in for a kiss when she got back home. To my horror, she turned away and made her way to our bed and passed out. Never had she ever turned down a kiss from me up until at that point in time. I brushed it off to her being absolutely pissing drunk and let it slide. The next morning, I asked her about returning home in a cab, even though A was supposed to be dropping her off. She responded by saying that she couldn't stay there any longer owing to a terrible headache, and decided to book a cab back home, so as to not want her girlfriends having to call it an early night. Now, it takes a maximum of an hour in peak London traffic to get over to our house from Soho. If her timeline is to be believed, she was in the cab for almost 4 hours. She could see me trying to piece it together, but quickly went in for a kiss. My naivete, coupled with love, took over, and I went on with the rest of my day without giving it a second thought.